She was the first astronomer to be paid, wasn't she? No, the first female scientist to be paid.
Scientist.
Yes. The fact that as a female scientist myself, I didn't know that, means that there is not enough recognition of what she achieved.
Caroline Herschel is an enigma in the history of astronomy. Working with her brother William, she expanded the known universe and made many of her own discoveries that set her squarely in the canon of great astronomers. I spent a day with Astronomer Royal Michele Dougherty to learn more about the life and work of Caroline Herschel. This is her in her 70s. Do we have any sense of what she was like as a young woman?
So we know that she performed quite a lot as a musician, accompanying her brother. Everything she writes points to someone who considered herself to be of service to her brother, either as a musician or as an assistant astronomer, although I don't like the term. She was an astronomer in her own right.
Caroline, when she was 96 years old. What a fantastic age she reached. I think it's sort of testament to her determination.
Absolutely.
It's quite remarkable to think of Caroline as a young woman in her early 20s moving from Hanover to England with an expectation that her life would be based around music. When she was 22, Caroline's brothers, William and Alexander, persuaded her to come and live with them in England to pursue a career as a singer. At the time, William was a successful composer with only an amateur interest in astronomy. 2 years later, in 1774, unimpressed by the commercially available telescopes, William decided, with Alexander's help, to build his own.
So here is one of the speculum mirrors made by William Herschel.
So this would have been made in their home?
Yes, you can go to the Herschel Museum today and see the cracked flagstones using molten metal would have cracked the floor, probably much to Caroline's consternation.
So does this take you back, Michele?
It does rather, because my dad made his own 10-inch reflector. So it was with something very similar to this that I had my first view of the night sky.
Very soon, William's obsession with astronomy and telescope building completely took over their lives. In her memoir, Caroline writes, "And then, to my sorrow, I saw almost every room in the house turned into a workshop. Once, in order to finish a 16-inch mirror, William had not taken his hands from it for 16 hours. To keep him alive, I was constantly obliged to feed him by putting the victuals by bits into his mouth." In a remarkably short time, William and Alexander were making the biggest and the best telescopes in the world. And with Caroline as his assistant, William was observing more in the night sky than anyone before. This is Flamsteed's atlas that was actually used by Caroline Herschel. At the time, Atlas Coelestis, by the first Astronomer Royal John Flamsteed, published posthumously in 1729, was the most comprehensive documentation of the known universe.
Gosh, I wish I could read all of these little details, because that would really
Absolutely.
help. We'll just about make out double there.
Because William Herschel made the best telescopes there were, they were then able to see with finer resolution objects in the night sky, and what previously appeared as single stars, they're now seeing as double stars.
Turned out to be doubles. They were certainly seeing things that hadn't been noted before and just adding them in.
What do you think it was like for Caroline when she was working with this atlas?
Well, it sounds as if she was looking at this and waiting to hear from her brother. My understanding is he rang a little bell.
Oh, ding, ding. And then what, she sort of perks up.
And she opened the window that was near her so she could hear what he was calling out. And then she made a note and then would know whether to add it in. And I'm just thinking, I would have been a bit frustrated because I would want to have been looking through the telescope to see what he was seeing. That might have been why, when he went away, she started looking through the telescope on her own.
Very different experience.
Absolutely, it was.
I can imagine her sat there, lit by candlelight, very carefully annotating. Maybe the fact that they were siblings helped this whole partnership and that they understood each other. I mean, they must have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours doing this together.
I wonder how much sleep they didn't get. Because they were spending every night doing this,
Yeah.
catching a few hours of sleep, and then she would spend the day pulling all of it together. Imagine if William and Caroline were here today, how excited they would be about what they could see. Their minds would boggle.
They would.
I think.
William and Caroline Herschel were central figures in a golden age of astronomy. William's fame was sealed when he discovered the planet Uranus in 1781 and then infrared light in 1800. And the way Caroline and William combined precise data gathering and analysis with groundbreaking technical innovation paved the way for astronomy as we know it today.
Séparation Webb Space Telescope. Go Webb!
The James Webb Space Telescope now taking its first steps to its work-place about 1 million miles away from Earth.
Like wires everywhere. Amazing.
So this is a new mission through the European Space Agency, but it's based on the heritage of the JUICE instrument that is on its way to Jupiter.
It's really apparent that this closeness between the engineering and the scientists is really important.
It's the way to get the best outcome. Engineers build the best instruments by being pushed really hard to get the best data that they can. You then have scientists who are really good at analysing the data, but there are also some scientists who are better at analysing the data than others. And I was thinking, Caroline Herschel was one of those people who would look at a piece of data and see something in it that someone else who had looked at it before hadn't seen. Some people can look at a piece of data and think, oh, that looks normal, I'm not going to look at it more closely, whereas someone like Caroline Herschel would look at the data and think, oh, there might be a comet in there. So Lucy, I was looking at the letter that Caroline wrote to Charles Blagden at the Royal Society, and it was entitled An Account of a New Comet. And then we see her hand-drawn images.
Incredible.
Isn't this fantastic? You can see how the night sky evolved.
So she was essentially sweeping the sky night after night, looking for something, a bright blob that didn't appear in any star catalogue. So she'd have a star catalogue to compare, she'd be looking at the night sky and then,
In consequence of the friendship which I know to exist between you and my brother, I venture to trouble you in his absence with the following imperfect account of a comet.
And that's something that kind of comes up again and again with Caroline Herschel, this sort of modest facade, at least. And in his absence, that's very telling, isn't it? Her brother goes away and she makes this remarkable discovery.
It was clearly driven by her brother to begin with, but then it was also clear, following the letter that she wrote to the Royal Society, that when her brother was away, she then went to the telescope and made her own observations. But also, I think she had more confidence in herself than maybe I was originally giving her credit for. Because if you write to someone and say, I've discovered something, and you haven't actually discovered something, then you won't be taken seriously again. So she was really, I think, stepping beyond her comfort zone. She was taking a bit of a chance here.
Had her brother been here, maybe it would have been her brother writing the letter and announcing these discoveries.
Yeah.
So thank goodness that actually she took this opportunity to speak for herself and to make her mark. Caroline Herschel became the first woman to be officially recognised for discovering a comet, and in 1787 her account of that discovery made history as the first paper by a woman published by the Royal Society. That same year she was granted an annual salary by the King, an extraordinary achievement that allowed her to work with a new degree of independence. In August 1797, she rode on horseback through the night from Slough to Greenwich to tell Astronomer Royal Neville Maskelyne about her discovery of a comet. It was the 8th and final comet discovery of her career. To put this into perspective, she had increased the number of comets known to humanity by around 25%.
So in the summer of 1799, Caroline came to stay here for 2 weeks, and her primary task was to transcribe her annotations from her index of Flamsteed's catalogue into Maskelyne's copy. Neville Maskelyne really was an important figure in Caroline's career because he helped verify her discoveries, he helped her network with all the key figures in Georgian science, And what I really like is when you look through the correspondence, you can see that genuine warmth and affection between them as well. So Maskelyne calls Caroline my worthy sister in astronomy, which is really affectionate, but it's also got that sort of regard and respect as well. I think Caroline's strength really was to realise that Flamsteed had catalogued all the stars by constellation, by grouping, which sounds quite logical, but they may not appear exactly in that order as you're looking at the sky with a telescope. So she created an index so it was much easier for astronomers to cross-reference and to use Flamsteed's catalogue. And crucially, it was Maskelyne who persuaded the Royal Society to pay for the publication of Caroline's work.
Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful?
Caroline Herschel's index to Flamsteed's atlas was published by the Royal Society in 1798. Correcting numerous errors and adding 560 stars, it became an essential reference for astronomers at the time.
So there's been a shift, hasn't there? This is what, 1797. She is the scientist and she's being supported by her brother.
That's really nice, isn't it? And it is very clear this is by Caroline Herschel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, her publication. In 1828, Caroline Herschel became the first woman to receive a gold medal from the Royal Astronomical Society.
So I think she was 77 when she got the gold medal, and then some of the other accolades followed on from that. But that was 31 years after she discovered her 8th comet. And you just wonder if a man had discovered 8 comets, whether he might have been recognised a little bit earlier. It was a long time in coming, but yes, it did come in the end.
It did, but there's part of me that's quite sad that her brother, William Herschel, didn't get to see or share with her the excitement of the recognition that she was getting. I think had he been alive and he could have said to her, congratulations, we're so proud of you, that would have been the icing on the cake.
Yes,
you know?
I think so. I agree. So I think for me, one of the most poignant things I've learned is the fact that she probably didn't know of any other female scientist while she was working through her career.
That's a really good point. I can't really fully grasp what it must have been like for her.
She was out there by herself making discoveries and then trying to persuade people that they were discoveries. It shows a steeliness of character, I think, that hasn't come out in any of the paperwork that we've seen and any of the letters, but it must have been there. There's no way she could have achieved what she did unless it was there.